So you want to be OP? Well, I am here to help once again. I actually did do a video for Final Fantasy 13 2 quite a few years ago. But being that I'm playing on the Steam version, and there is a major difference in between the console versions of the game and the Steam version, right? So in the consoles, you could actually do the Lightning DLC if you owned it immediately after you leave New Bodom. And so, like the first time you go to the the Historia Crux here, you can actually do the Lightning DLC and get Lightning as a commando, which is the most overpowered thing that you can do early on in the game. But that does not work for the Steam version of the game. You actually have to beat the game completely before you can do the Lightning DLC. So, that said, one of the best things that you can do here is actually play through the events of New Bodom and then do the Brescia Ruins to unlock the Sunleth Waterscape. It's actually pretty early on that I don't even know that you have to go through all of Brescia. Actually, maybe you do. Yeah, actually, no, you do. I forgot. There's a gate in the south part that actually leads to the Brescia 300, but that's not important. You're really just following the main storyline stuff until you get to Brescia. And then, like I said, once you've completed it, that unlocks the Sunleth Waterscape. And then similarly, you just go through the storyline events here in Sunleth Waterscape to unlock the Arkyle Steppe. So once you've unlocked the Arkyle Steppe, that's where you can really actually do some things that'll make you just truly overpowered. And that's in terms of actually getting a couple of the monsters here for your paradigms. One thing I would say, or the one monster I would definitely recommend getting is the Blue Chocobo. There are very few, Blue Chocobo is one of the best Ravagers in the entire game. And so, and I should say you can get that, I'll just pull up my menu here, you can get that over here in the marshes. Unfortunately, though, that does mean that you have to get the Chocobo Waystone here. I've kind of got it in the middle of my targeting reticle, I guess I'm going to call it. Unfortunately, so and you have to do that while it's cloudy. So right, you go over to that and interact with the Chocobo Waypoint, and that actually teleports you over here to the marshes. And once you've done that, you can find the blue Chocobos and obviously tame them. That can be a little bit annoying, especially if you're here like super early on, but it's doable, and especially if you grab a couple of the other monsters to kind of try to help you out a little bit. One thing that I found helped was so actually when you first get here to the Arkyle Steppe, they'll send you on a couple of quests. And actually, I think the very first quest pits you up against a couple of goblins and then a yellow chocobo. And that yellow chocobo can actually be built up here. Let me just see if I've got one. Yeah, here we go. So I actually do have I brought this one all the way to 99. You don't need to go that high up, but this guy can really help you to get a blue chocobo. The problem is, when you first come here, your stats are gonna be pretty bad for Noel and Sarah, and so you need some help from some monsters. So again, I would grab this chocobo, and I think that's got a 100% tame rate in that fight. So keep in mind that these guys, and every time I've ever come across a chocobo, because they can actually be found here on the Plains of Eternity. Every time I've ever fought them here, I've always tamed them. So again, I think that's 100%. But anyways, then what you want to do is set up yourself a paradigm actually with, the chocobo here, and then have Noel and Sarah as Ravagers. That'll really help you out. You could even do like Noel as a sentinel. But the problem there with the blue chocobo is if it takes you too long to beat it, it'll run away. So again, that's why it actually really helps out to build yourself a chocobo, just a basic one, to get that blue chocobo tamed, increase your chances. But anyways, let's actually get to it. So one of the things here that I'm going to do is start on this blue chocobo, and we will just infuse a micro chew. Micro chews are very, very easy to find. You want to get this thing all the way up to level 18. That is for item scavenger 2. This is the earliest possible monster that you can give item scavenger to another monster, which is why I really like the micro chew. So we're going to infuse that. And now actually I need to go grab one more because unfortunately the item scavenger 2 is a very, very low tier ability, and we need to yellow lock that. Alright, so I just wanted to include some footage here of this Cactuar waypoint. Again, we're down here at the southern part of the map. The very first time that you enter the Archild Steppe, it'll actually be in cloudy weather, which is perfect for this. The weather has to be cloudy in order to reveal this, and it will initially be out of phase, and so you have to use the Moogle Hunt to reveal it. And then once it's revealed, then you can just examine it and teleport over to the Clearwater Marshes. And this is where we really want to be. And then I guess I would just say that you know, the first time you enter the marshes here, you can grab one of these other Cactuar Waystones, and there's one over there, I guess kind of straight ahead. And then actually you can just use that to teleport back to the camp, and then you want to change the weather to rainy. Alright, so I snagged myself another micro chew, which another reason for kind of hanging out here in the marshes during the rain is you know, very common to run into those micro chews, which are also a great way to farm monster materials, those being the tier 5 biological materials, I guess that would be referred to as. I will go over all of the materials that we'll need to farm up to get these guys leveled as well. So anyways, let's go back here into let's go with this chocobo here, and we're gonna infuse the micro chew that I just got. So that's gonna yellow lock the critical vigilance, the item scavenger 2, and then actually it is gonna lock that yellow resist deprotect. Probably gonna have to get rid of that lock, but that will be easy. Next up here, actually, let's go back into him and infuse the next monster, which I'm gonna use the Cactrot. Now this one can be a little bit annoying because it's a rare monster, but the Cactrot can be found on the Plains of Eternity. That's basically you just jump right off the where the weather control device is at, right? And that's the Plains of Eternity. So, you know, directly ahead there. And during sunny weather, you can find these guys. So that's going to get us the item collector. And again, this, I should say, let me back up a bit. The whole reason for doing this is to just have a farming chocobo that is also very, very powerful, right? I mean, the chocobo just is automatically going to have amazing stats just by virtue of leveling it. But we really want to have, you know, some good infusions though, so that it's not only effective, but it's also, you know, going to be able to gather up a lot of items. Let me just see here. So we got item collector, item scavenger 2. Let's grab the, I think it's the Moblin. Moblin is also found on the Plains of Eternity during sunny weather. That's going to get us the Gillfinder too. So those 3 abilities are amazing for this. For one thing, I would just recommend to get those abilities onto your farming chocobo immediately. Reason for that is, and you can see there actually, item scavenger 2 says increases the odds of obtaining items after battle. You know, it takes a ton of monster materials to level up your monsters in this game. And so getting that on your monster as early as you possibly can is just going to increase the speed that you can, you know, gather up all that stuff. I would argue that actually item collector isn't as needed, but it does help though as well, right? So it says increases the odds of obtaining rare items after battle. That is nice because some monsters have a base drop of like a potent material, but then it'll have a rare drop of a what would it be, like a power material instead. So that actually is very, very nice as well. But those are the 3 abilities that I would say are really critical for the early game and making yourself overpowered, right? Because it just takes time and takes farming to become overpowered, and the more efficient you can be at it, the better off you're going to be. So next up here, I'm actually going to infuse this Hedge Frog as well. That's for the attack ATB charge. And it is nice that the Hedge Frog is actually found here in the marshes as well during the rain, so definitely easy monster to grab as well. Let's see here, 1, 2. Let me check my my list here really quick. Yeah, I got the Hedge Frog, got the Cactrot, got the Microchew Moblin there. That looks like that is good. Let's actually start working on the leveling. I'm gonna see though if because there's a chance that I may need to get rid of that lock on the resist deep protect. Actually, I probably should do that. Let me do that really quick. All right, so this next monster is the, I'm going to use the Ceratosaur. These are commonly found in the Sunleth Waterscape 300. So again, one of the other regions that are, required to even get here. So I'm just going to learn that right at level 2, and then we'll go back and infuse that right into our blue chocobo to remove the lock on that resist deep protect. And at this point, we can start leveling this thing up. Now, my opinion, don't worry too much about the materials that you're using for this thing. And I only say that because the idea here with this is to just get it started on leveling so that you can farm more efficiently, and so we don't really need to worry about grabbing a bunch of mana droplets and leveling this thing in the perfect way. I would just recommend using potents for this. So let's just I'll show you the process here. That adds chain bonus boost, and then we've got resist deep protect and resist ice on the bottom. There's that first expansion. You're going to do the increased ATB gauge, and we'll go right back into using potents, because again, you're going to have, it's so much easier to farm potents at this point in the game. Unfortunately with the blue chocobo, it requires, if you really want to do a really solid build for the end game, you want mana crystals at the end, but that's like the level 50-ish leveling, but those are so difficult to get. So I definitely recommend just going with potent items for your development. All right, so that was the got critical haste on there. Going to do one last ATB gauge increase, so that brings us up to 6. And now we'll use essences. Alright, and here we're getting into some of the higher levels of resist ice. Now, there's just no real good way around this, because I don't want to, for a farming chocobo, especially at the beginning of the game, I don't think it's worth grabbing a bunch of these monsters twice to yellow lock these abilities, right, to try to keep resist ice off. So I don't recommend doing that, again, especially because this is just kind of a starter chocobo. I don't intend this to be, the intent of this video isn't, to build the most impressive blue chocobo possible. It's really just to get yourself started on something really early game, and that will really help you speed up your farming. There, that resist D-shell got blocked, and then here's resist ice, 53%. There's again no way around that. And then I think here I'm going to have a problem with resist D-shell. No, okay, that got blocked as well. All right, yeah, I did get this right. For some reason, I thought that might have knocked off the magic 20%, but it doesn't. So we're good to go there. And actually, we're just going to keep using potents here, and we're basically done. So there's 94, 95, and there's level 99. So there you have it. That is, you know, in my opinion, the best way to become crazy overpowered at the beginning of the game. Now, obviously, you're going to need to track down some other monsters to feed to this blue chocobo so that you can learn more of the abilities. It only has, you know, Blizzard, Arrow, and then I guess it's like, you know, Blizzard and the Wind type spells. So you're going to need to teach it the Fire and the Thunder spells. But even as it is, this thing is going to be really, really strong here. Although I will say teaching it some fire spells early is going to really help you out for farming in the marshes. I just noticed that a lot of that stuff is weak versus fire. So anyways, that is it. That is the build. Again, critical ATB charge, that's red locked. The critical vigilance isn't great. I don't love that, but there's no way around that because of the Micro Chew gets that before item scavenger, and you know the Micro Chew is unfortunately the only monster that's available right now this early with that ability. Critical haste is always good, especially on a Ravager. Resist ice also not something that I would want to see on my Chocobo, but there's no way around that either without having to try to yellow lock a bunch of abilities. So next up, you know, attack A to be charged 2, that's solid. Gill Finder, that is just going to help you out, you know, over the course of the game. Obviously, you can buy some of the monster materials right from Chocolina, and then that is going to help you out big time for getting a bunch of the fragments in Serendipity, right? You can just roll right up into Serendipity, buy a bunch of the coins, and then purchase the fragments that you need right away. So I love that. And then Item Collector, you know, is going to help with collecting the rare items. Chain Bonus Boost, that can actually be upgraded later to Chain Bonus Boost 2 once you get into Ereba. I think it's 300, and you can get the Pink Lily. So that's you know, and that'll be even better. And then the Magic 20%, kind of same deal. Once you get the Tonberry, you could slap a Magic 35% on that instead. But all right, last thing that I want to talk about, I should say, is actually where to find these monster materials for leveling up your Blue Chocobo. The nice thing about you know, the Blue Chocobo is, and all of the infusions that I used, is it's all biological monsters, right? So you don't have to farm any of the bolts or chips. You're going to be farming all of this stuff here. So you're looking for the potent droplet, slivers, orbs, crystals, and then the potent essence. Droplets can be found mostly in the Brescia ruins, 005 AF. So the Ketchi, the Gremlin, Garchomysera all drop at about a 30-ish% or 33-ish% drop rate. Next up would be the potent slivers. Very, very easy to get these in the Sunleth Waterscape 300 AF from the Ceratoraptors, the Flandits, or the Ceratosaurs, which also kind of nice, right? One of the infusions that I use is, I think it was the Ceratoraptor, I think, or was it the Ceratosaur? I can't remember, one of the two, but anyways, you know, great spot to grab that, or a bunch of those slivers and grab that monster while you're there. Next up is the Potent Orb. So that's the tier 3 biological. I always farm these on the Archilt Steppe from the Buckaboos and the Buckaboo Aces. Very easy to find those in the Grave or Stone Stump, I think that's the Stone Stump Wastelands, yeah. So more towards the southern spot, or southern area of the map. Kind of actually where that Cactuar stone is at. So very, very, very easy to get those, and they drop those like crazy. Next up is the Potent Essence. I farm those on the, once again, Archilt Steppe from the Hedge Frogs, Mud Frogs, Swamp Monks, and those are all located in the marshes while it's rainy. That is where I get those. Oops, I didn't have my cursor on them. So yeah, again, that's the Potent Essence. And then the Potent Crystals also, again, once again, coming from the marshes, and those being dropped by the Micro Chew at 30%. So very, very easy to get these potent crystals as well. So anyways, that is it. That is my opinion on the best way to become overpowered, especially early on in the game, and actually to set yourself up for later on in the game as well. But as always, hope the guide was helpful, and thanks for watching.